Hi, I'm Darnell with Whale Recipes, and this is my review of the NuWave Todd English Pro Smart Grill. So let's go ahead and get it unboxed. So let's go over the accessories that come with the cooker. There's this bake pan slash drip pan. It kind of doubles, and you can put it in the bottom of the cooker, but it also will go on the rack levels if you wanted it on a higher rack level, which is pretty interesting there. The cooker has a meat probe for temperature measurements, so that's pretty nice. It also has an air fry basket for air frying. It's got a wire rack. This is the wire rack. It's kind of looks almost like the air fry basket. It just doesn't have a dip to it. And then there's a grill plate, and the grill plate has kind of like a connector on the back. So when you're using the grill plate down bottom, I'll show you that later, you basically have to hook it in, and it gives heat from the bottom from the grill plate. So this cooker, you'll see, has heat on the top and the bottom if you use the grill plate, or if you don't use the grill plate, it's just heat from the top, which is a pretty interesting move there by the folks at NuWave. We've got, for paperwork, we've got a bunch of recipes. There's this big recipe book. Let me show you. It's got like a bunch of recipes and pictures. I guess there's like a picture and a recipe on each page. It's like one page is a picture, the other page is a recipe. But this book in total goes about 115 pages. So pretty big book, lots of recipes you can work with there. It's got a quick start guide. Got some other like warning, I guess the lawyers make them throw that in. Then you got your manual. I will say this is a very detailed manual. It's a longer manual compared to a lot of other cookers, so they did a lot of work on the manual for sure. Now let me show you the power plug for this cooker. It's a 3-prong grounded power plug and pretty nice length on the cord there. It's an 1800 watt cooker, so higher end on the wattage, not very big form factor. I would expect it to be able to do a lot of very hot cooking. You've got the grill plate that can make heat from the bottom, and you got the top side heat. So we'll see how it performs during the testing. Now I'm going to tell you some more things about the cooker. It has a temperature range of between 50 degrees Fahrenheit to 500 degrees Fahrenheit that you basically can adjust as needed. And they claim that the temperature holds steady with virtually no fluctuations. We'll see if during the temperature test if that pans out. The cooking times are between 0, by default, they're 0 to 99 hours, 59 minutes. So you could go like almost 100 hours of cooking time if you chose. But the cooking format can be adjusted. So you could change it to go up to 99 days and 99 hours if you wanted to. I don't know what you would cook for 99 days, but you could do that if you wanted to. There's a way to adjust it. And I'm not going to be going into those details about how to adjust that format, because I'm not going to be cooking anything that goes that long. But if you want, that is detailed in the very detailed manual, as I mentioned. Also, it has a delay feature. I will be showing that. The delay feature, you can set delay out to 24 hours. So like you could set things so that the cook doesn't start cooking. Well, the cooker doesn't start cooking until 24 hours later. So, you could have it start a bake the next day. I hope you have ingredients that won't go bad setting for 24 hours, but you can do that. You can do that. So a lot of flexibility with the things that the cooker can do. And it has up to 5 cooking stages, so you can cook in stages. If you're familiar with NuWave's cookers that have stage cooking, this can do that too. So you could have like one stage bake, the next stage do something else, then the last stage do like a broil on the top or something. You can do different stages up to 5, which is pretty neat. This cooker has 100 presets already built in. So they've already set up 100 presets that you could use, and they detail those in the manual. And then you can add up to 50 custom presets. So you can add your own presets so that you can have the same exact cook do the same exact things, and you can use the stages with that. So you can use a preset that has up to 5 stages. So a lot of programming flexibility in this cooker to customize things the way that you like them. Now, on the outside dimensions of the cooker, It's 14 inches in length, 14 inches in width, and 15 inches in height. The inside dimensions of the cooker are 10.6 inches in length, 11.5 inches in width, and 7.5 inches in height. I will be doing independent measures just to look at it myself and show you. It has a 15 quart capacity, and they say that the cooker can do multi-layer cooking so that you could be grilling on the bottom with the heat from the plate on the bottom, while on top you could have some veggies or other food, and that heat coming down from the top is going to cook your stuff on top, so you can do two things at once. And the cooker weighs 21.4 pounds if you're interested in that. So now I'm going to just show you around the cooker so you can get a look around it. Here on this side we got some air vents. On this side, some vents down bottom there. While on the other side, you see it had them on top and bottom. Then around back, we've got some vents around back. So we got some air work in the back there too. And a little bit of a hump back there. So that's your look around the cooker. So now I'm going to give you a close-up view of the cooker. You see the front display there. We'll go through that when we plug things in. Inside the cooker here, you see that it has 1, 2, 3 rack levels, and then if you count the pan on the bottom that you could bake on even on the bottom, that kind of counts as a 4th. And the jack for the meat probe goes right here, so you could plug that in, and you see they say the probe wire will go there. So like if you had the probe into your meat and you have things closed up, you just kind of have the wire coming out there like that. And let me see, it's like, let me get that out of the way. Yeah, so when I close it up like this, I'm not seeing any like real gap or opening. You see things aren't, you know, going to be venting a bunch of air when that probe is in there. And so it's got like some touchscreen stuff. It's got the knob here, and it also presses as a button. We'll go through that in more detail later. Inside here, we see that there's nothing in the back except this little window or little door for the grill plate. I'll show you how to put that in a moment. There's the light here. This light is replaceable. You can get them to replace the light if you have issues with it. You just unscrew it out. And then up top, you've got basically your fan and a big heating element up top there. So that's where all your action's going on as far as your heating. Let me show you with the grill plate. You're supposed to be able to put it in on this bottom level and just slide it in, and it just pops right into that jack. Things close up and you can start cooking, and it's going to heat this plate up so that you're able to do grilling. So now we have the Cuisinart air fryer toaster oven with grill next to the NuWave Todd English air fryer and grill. And so from just a casual observation, you can see that the Cuisinart is wider than the NuWave. The NuWave is a little taller than the Cuisinart. And I guess when you include the hump in the back, the Cuisinart is maybe just a touch further out because of the hump in the back. I am going to do some measurements now just to basically give some details to that. And if you want to see the full review of this Cuisinart, that is already here on the channel, as well as its 30-day review after using it 30 days, so you can see all those reviews. But front to back, the Cuisinart is about 12.5 inches. Yeah, 12.5. The NuWave front to back is, it's like 11.5 inches. Yeah, it's 11.5 inches front to back. See the side here, well, doing across the width of the bottom, or the length of the bottom, I guess. We got 12.5 inches there. It's about 12.5 there. And let's do this one. You see just over 11.5, so about an inch shorter on the NuWave in those regards. Then we got top to bottom Let me make sure I'm looking right eyeball on. It's about 6, but I'm trying to do just from the groove in the door. A little over 6 inches there. With the NuWave, we've got about 7.5 inches, so a little taller. And you definitely can see that even on casual observation, no doubt about that. Going over the top of the Cuisinart, we've got a little over 15 inches, maybe 15.25. With NuWave, we've got about 14. Going front to back with the hump, trying to include the hump. Let's see. I'm looking at about 15.5 inches. NuWave, trying to include its hump in the back. Let's see. Come up right there. About 15 inches, so just a little less for the NuWave. Now for height, we see that the Cuisinart is just about 14 inches. The NuWave is just about 15 inches. So that's how things measure up. And with a 9-inch bake pan, I did want to show with the 9-inch bake pan, you can fit that inside. You know, you could put it on a rack if you want to be a little high up here, but you can put a 9-inch bake pan in there. Of course, 9-inch bake pan is going to fit in here with no problem at all. So now we have the caloric air fry and grill next to the NuWave, and full review of this here on the channel. If you want to see the dimensions and measurements and all for it, you can find those in its detailed review. But basically you can see that the cookers are roughly the same size. The NuWave's just a little taller. I can tell from the front to the back they're pretty much even, including the humps. Pretty much they're even. And side to side they're fairly similar in that respect. I'm going to just open up, and I just want to just compare the rack just to kind of get a better idea. You can see the caloric's rack is bigger. So the caloric is bigger as far as the room you're going to get inside to do your cooking. Put this back here. And you can see top to bottom, NuWave maybe just a little touch more space up high, but the caloric set's a little lower, so not too much difference there, but I think you're going to get a little more into the caloric as far as the rack is concerned and the size of the rack. So that kind of gives you a view of the side-by-side of the caloric and the NuWave. They're kind of close, but with the caloric you do have those French doors, and it's a little bigger, just a little bit. And now we have the long-running champ here, the Ninja Foodi XL Pro Air Fry Oven next to the NuWave, and we can see that the NuWave basically is just bigger overall, even though the NuWave's just a little taller because the Ninja has the controls on the handle here. In front to back, definitely the Ninja is bigger. So you're going to be able to do just like a whole lot more cooking inside of the Ninja than in the NuWave. You can see I've cooked a lot in the Ninja. I'm not one who really cares about, you know, some stains and such. I'll just wipe it down with a wet soapy rag and such, but I'm not a neat freak about getting it totally spotless. I don't care. But anyway, you can just tell the Ninja's just bigger overall. You can get a 13-inch bake pan with no handles in here. You can do 2 layers of 13-inch bake pans with no handles if you want in this cooker. You're not going to fit nearly as much into the NuWave, but the NuWave does have that grill feature, so basically you get to make the decision there. And there is a full review of this cooker here on the channel. And if you're interested in other cookers like the NuWave Dual Heat Air Fry Oven, full review of that here on the channel. That and anything else, you can look at those reviews to make your determinations based on how things go here with the NuWave. So I was thinking with this Todd English air fryer and grill, if I have the grill plate on the bottom to give me heat from the bottom, and of course I'm going to have heat going from the top, could I fit a 5-pound whole chicken in and cook that up? And a 5-pound whole chicken is not going to fit while having that grill plate in on the bottom. I guess maybe if I put it on the actual grill itself. Yeah. So now with the grill plate in, if I put it on the grill plate, I could try and cook a chicken like that. This is fully frozen, so I won't be cooking that in this review here. But I guess it'd be interesting trying to cook a whole chicken on a hot grill plate. I don't know if that would turn out, I don't know. I guess you can. I mean, I've cooked plenty of whole chickens on grills outdoors, so I guess it can be done. So you could take a whole 5-pound chicken, put it there on the grill plate, and grill it up and cook your whole chicken if you want to try that. It does fit. Now I'm going to do an initial plug-in of the cooker here. So plugging it on in, we'll see what happens. Alright, we got a quick flash and then things kind of went away on us. So that's all you get for the initial plug-in. Now I'm going to try and set the clock. I'm going to hit the power button, turn things on. And I hope that you can see the display. It looks like things aren't too washed out. So I'm going to keep my big light on while I finish. Now I'm going to try and set the clock. To do that, you're supposed to hit the preheat button and hold the time temp. So I hit both of those and the time comes up, and then I'm going to turn to my current time. Okay, now I've got the time set, and it's very important that you set the time on this cooker, because if you don't, you won't be able to use the delay function. That won't work, and so you'll be able to, well, you'll be limited on some of the features you'll be able to use if you don't have the clock set. Alright, so to mute the beeping, you're supposed to be able to hit the stage and sear button. When I hit both of them, it's not doing anything, so you're supposed to be able to hit stage and sear, and then when you're cooking, the alerts that would basically beep during the cooking stages won't beep. But I guess that's supposed to work, but I'm not getting any response when I hit stage and sear together, but that's how you're supposed to be able to do it. So now it's time for a temperature test. I've got the iGrill 2 here with the ambient probe sitting there on the grill rack. And so I'm going to close up on the cooker here. Things are snug. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to try that grill function, and let's see if I can go up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to do the time temp. I'm going to push the time out to 30 minutes. And let's hit start there. Now it's doing a preheat, and then after it does its preheat, it'll get into the actual cooking function. Alright, it I guess beeped that it's ready. I'm only reading 440 degrees Fahrenheit on the ambient probe, and I guess it does a 10-second countdown. Then it starts the actual cooking process. So things are off and cooking now, and even though it said 500, it was reading 440. Now I'm up to 449. Gonna let this go for a little bit and then see how things are doing. Alright, so things have been cooking for a few minutes, and I noticed that the temp went up to like about 449, as I mentioned earlier. It was there about 449 for a while. Now it's dropped down to 423. So basically the temperature, now it's down to 421. Temperature is fluctuating here. I'll keep an eye on things for a little longer, but now it's down to 417. I'm not seeing a steady temp, but we'll see how things continue to go. Things have been going for 5 minutes now. The temperature's down to 400 on the ambient probe. So now I'm down at 390. Well, for a moment it touched 399, then it jumped right back real quick to 400. So this is interesting, and this is at 500 according to what the grill plate's supposed to be at. But we're reading about, things dropped down to 400. I mean, it's lower than the preheat temp now. That's pretty interesting. Alright, so things have been going for 10 minutes now. The ambient probe is down to 394. 394. That, I can't say that's consistent, that's for sure. So I'm going to feel the top. The top is pretty warm. It's pretty warm. I don't want to keep my hand there very long. I can keep it there though. Yeah, it's pretty warm though. It's not hot, but whoa, that's hot. Whoa. Don't touch the front, okay? Don't play around with the front like I did on the top. That's hot. Side here, it's pretty warm. This side, whoa, this side's pretty, well, it's a little warm right there. It's kind of near hot right there, but overall it's not too bad on that side. On the back, let's see. The back is not too hot. Yeah, it's warm back there, but it's not too hot. So this cooker on the outside, it's not like burn you hot except for here on the front. I mean, here, you know, you'll probably get a burn. You keep it there too long. The other parts are pretty like low hot. You know, not hot. Down here, I'm not feeling anything. Keeping my hand there. Put my hand around back side here. Not feeling any like heat down on the bottom there. Now I'm just going to check changing temperature on the fly. Well, changing time, I can add time. And then if I hit the time temp, I can change the temperature on the fly there. So basically time and temp can be changed on the fly. That's doable. If I open the door, let's see what happens. If I open the door, it says, hey, door's open, it stops, pauses for me. That's pretty good. So I'm going to basically stop. I'll turn the iGrill 2 off, and I'm going to turn the cooker off, turn it back on, and I'm going to go to grill again. And we see I lost my setting of 500 degrees 30 minutes. So it doesn't remember what I had before. I guess if I had it as a preset, it would remember it, but it doesn't remember it just kind of built in. So there's no memory of your very last cook unless you set it as a preset. Alright, now that the cooker is turned off, I want to check what happens if I unplug it, if maybe it has a little battery to remember the time for a short period, or if it just loses everything when you unplug. So we unplugged here, there's our plug, and now I'm just waiting a few seconds. Put the plug back in, let's see what we get. So we're plugged back in, we got no clock, our clock's gone. So basically when you turn things off, you lose your clock. Let's see if I hit the, yeah, I have to set my clock again. So you unplug, you lose your clock, and like I said, when you lose your clock, you're not able to use features like delay and such. So that's means there's absolutely no retention of the time if you unplug things. Now, something I wanted to clarify, when I did the temperature test on grill only uses the bottom heat plate. There's a combo feature that uses the top and the bottom at the same time if you want to use top and bottom heat. But the grill by itself is supposed to be able to get up to 500 degrees. And we saw that during the preheat, it reached a certain temp and then it came down lower than that after the preheat. And it kind of stayed steady at about 100 degrees less. You know, I'm sure the actual plate, physical plate, is a little hotter than the probe that was resting just above it, but still, it didn't keep a very consistent temp from the preheat on afterwards. So just remember, grill only uses the bottom, air fry will only use the top, and then there's combo that uses both the top and bottom heat. And I'll get into more of the features later. I'm just going to do a burn off now where I basically run things for about maybe 20 minutes on a high temperature to burn off any shipping residues and such. You should do that with all your cookers. So let's walk through the functions on this cooker. I'm going to turn it on, and you have a watts button. You can basically press, you can do 700, 1500, or 1800 watts. So depending on your situation, you can adjust the wattage. There's the light button so that you can basically turn the light on and off in there. It's always nice to have. If you want to change from Fahrenheit to Celsius, you press and hold the time temp button. So I'm just holding it and seeing there it changed to Celsius. Now well, let me hold it again. Change it back to Fahrenheit. So there we go. You can change time and temp between change your temp between Fahrenheit and Celsius. Now I'm going to show you how to use the lace feature. This is a very nice feature on this cooker. Now I've got it set already to the default of air fry 15 minutes. You could set it to whatever settings you want for your cook. But then if you want to delay when it's going to start cooking, you hit the delay button and it shows the current time. So this is my current time. So I would turn the knob here out. Let's say I wanted to start to cook at 8 o'clock. So I would do that, and then I hit start, and it's on delay. It's showing delay. And at 8 o'clock it would start the actual cook. I'm going to basically stop that, turn things off. There's another way to use delay. So instead of using delay start, you can say I want you to finish cooking at a certain time. Let's say I want to finish cooking at 9 o'clock. So still using the 350 15-minute cooking time just as this example. You press and hold delay until you see delay E there on the display. And then you turn the time knob to your desired end time. So it'll give it a set end time. I hit start. And now it's on delay. And I guess it would wait till 7:40 or 8:45 to start the cook so that it would end at 9 o'clock sharp. So pretty nice feature there, delay, when you want things to start or end at a certain time. As I mentioned earlier with the air fry function, clicking, well, it's already on air fry to start anyway, but air fry only uses the top heat, so that's something to keep in mind. The grill, as I mentioned earlier, only uses the bottom heat, and you need the grill plate installed, of course, if you're going to use the grill. And as I was saying, combo, and I'm going to go into more details now with combo. Combo uses top and bottom. So basically you adjust percentage, and it's going to show for the top 30%, 70% on the bottom grill plate to start. And so I can adjust that. So see, now I've adjusted it. So now it's 50-50, top and bottom. You can adjust it however you want on combo, and then you can cook having top and bottom heat going for you at the same time. Now I'm going to show you how to use the probe feature. Let's say you've got things plugged in to the jack here like I showed earlier, and you've got the meat probe poked into your meat inside the cooker. And I turn the cooker on. I'm just going to use the air fried 350 15-minute default, and I hit the probe button. It shows the default. If it didn't show the default, I think if you hold it, it turns the probe off. So if it was off, you just hold the probe button until you see a initial temperature. And so it's showing the, I guess, the target temperature of what I want to get to. If I tap probe again, it's showing the current read of the temperature, so that's what it's currently reading. But let me see if I press it. Yeah, now it's at my target cook temperature of what I want it to be at when it's done. But you basically turn it to wherever you want it. Like let's say you wanted it 145. You were cooking some fish, for example. So you could turn it down to 145, and then you have it there, and you can hit start. It's going to do the whole preheat and cook thing, and you wouldn't want to put your food in until after the preheat. But basically, it's going to cook until it reaches the target temperature on the probe, and so that's how you use the probe for cooks. Now, when you're doing probe cooks, this cooker has a pretty neat feature, a carryover feature for you who like carryover. It can basically, with the probe, do the carryover for you. So let's say that I've got the temperature set up with the probe like I already showed you, and then if you hit, I believe it's stage and probe at the same time, hit stage and probe, then it shows 10 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 10 degrees Fahrenheit of carryover. I could adjust that if I wanted to. But basically what it's going to do now, if I start a cook at 10, it would basically cook till the meat was 155, and then it would set in there and allow the carryover, and it would let you know when things reach that finished carryover temperature. If it doesn't reach that finished carryover temperature, the cooker starts cooking again for a little while in order to basically get things to the temp, but it tries to work with you to do carryover, which is pretty nice. The cooker has a lock button feature if you wanted to lock the buttons, and basically if you press, I think it's, let me turn it on, it's menu and stage. So menu, well, hold on, and stage, there we go. So now it's locked, and so when it's locked, only the light and power button will function. None of the other buttons will function, so you won't be able to have kids that you don't want cooking. Now let me tell you about stage cooking. Basically you can use the stage button. Let's say I've got this 350 15 minutes. Let's say that's stage 1, then I want to add a stage. So I hit stage 1 there. So that's my first stage. I hit stage again. And for stage 2, let's say I wanted to do, bring it down a little bit and do that for 5 minutes. And then I could do stage 3. And I could basically add stages as much as I want. Well, 5 stages, up to 5. And then you hit start, you know, however many stages you want between 1 and 5. But by default, of course, always 1. But you can add your stages as you prefer to do different types of functions. Now I'm going to talk about the sear function. Basically, using the same default start of 350 15 minutes. If I hit sear, does a sear 1, this is 450 for 5 minutes. That means it's going to do a front end sear of 450 for 5 minutes. If I hit, well, 2, it's like a 1 and 2, but if I do 2, if I go over to just 2, it does a 450 5 minutes, it does an end sear. But if I had 1 and 2, like I had before, then it's going to do a front sear and an end sear. So you can do sear on the front, sear on the end, or sear on the front and the end. It's all up to you, however you want to configure it. Now I'm going to talk about the slow cook feature, because you need to have the meat probe if you're going to do a slow cook. So basically what you would do, you have to press the menu and probe. So menu, probe, and it does that double beep so that it knows that it's on the slow cook. And slow cook basically is going to do 190 degrees Fahrenheit to be the cooking temperature. You can adjust that, of course. And the probe temperature you can adjust as well by basically tapping probe. Well, let's see. Well, this is our cook temperature. Yeah, if I hold probe, then it shows me the probe target temperature, and I can adjust the probe target temperature. And so that's what it currently reads, and then you can hold it, or you can go back to your cooking temperature. But this is basically how you use the slow cook feature, and slow cook, as I mentioned, requires using the probe. Alright, now I want to talk about the preheat feature. Basically, you see I've got 350 in the 15 minutes, and let's say I start a cook. Well, I want to cancel preheat. I just press the preheat button. I just canceled my preheat. So that's how you can basically cancel your preheat. Let's say you don't want preheats ever with cooks. You press menu preheat, and you won't have preheats when you start your cooks if you just don't want preheats with your cooks. Press menu preheat again, brings preheat back to have preheats with your cooks. Now I want to talk about the warm feature. If you want to do warming of food afterwards, you can have it warm, and it defaults to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. You can adjust that up to about 200. And it'll do that for up to 3 hours, but you press and hold this button and see there it is. It's got the 140 automatically, and well, actually it's showing 1 hour instead of 3 hours. You can adjust it up to 3 hours though, I guess. So yeah, you could adjust it up. So that's how you get to the warm feature if you want to do a warming of food. So if I hit start, it's doing the cook at 350 15 minutes, and then afterwards it would do the warm. The warm kicks in afterwards to keep the food warm. Now I want to talk about the reheat feature. Turn it on, and if I hit reheat, it defaults to 350 4 minutes. You can adjust that up and down as far as the what you want your reheat to do, but it's kind of a quick way to get into the reheat function to do reheats. Now I'm going to talk about using the presets on this cooker. So turn it on. If you hit menu, that goes into your presets, and basically, like I said, they've got like 1 through 100 set up with theirs, so you could just scroll through, and you know, if there was one of theirs that you liked, you could basically use it. So this preset, it's like a stage cook preset. It's like one of theirs, but to get to the configurable presets, you got to go down through 101 to 150 to get to the ones that you can adjust yourself. Everything 1 through 100 is theirs. So I'm on 101, and let's say I want to basically set up my own preset that I want to lock in. I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on. So let's say I wanted to do air fry 400, and I'm going to set it down to 5 minutes. So just 5 minutes of air fry. And I've got that set up, and then I click menu, and I go down to 101, and I'm going to hit and hold menu to save it. And so that saved the preset there. So 101 should be saved as what I just put in. So when I go back in, I basically can go to menu, and I go to 101, the one that I locked in, and I hit like time and temp. See, I've got the 400 and the 5 minutes that I set up in 101. So that's my own fixed preset. Alright, I'm going to try baking something in the cooker. Even though it's a grill and air fryer, it's not a like an oven or a toaster. I'm not going to do toast. If you want to do toast, you'll have to, I guess, try that yourself. But I'm going to try baking something in it just to see how it turns out. And so I've got my apple cinnamon almond flour cookie recipe that I'm putting together here for it, and I'll just flash the ingredients on the screen. While I do that, I'm going to, basically I've got the rack on the first rack level. Well, it's called one. They don't really call the bottom level where the drip pan would be on the bottom a level at all. It's not really counted as a level. So what they call one is where I've got the rack level, which is the first one up. And so I'm going to try that, and I'm using 350 on the air fry setting, and I'm going to push the time out. I don't know if I'll need 30 minutes. I probably won't. I'm thinking this cooker's going to hit things pretty hard from the top, but we'll see. And I'm going to basically let that pan preheat, and then I'm going to spray it with some extra light olive oil and have to scoop my cookies out. Since I need time to scoop my cookies out, I might have to add time or something, I don't know. But basically, let's see, one at 350, yeah. So let it preheat, and I'll get the cookies on in there once the preheat is done. Alright, open up, and it's good that it stops when I open up, so I guess that'll give me time to get everything in without too much hassle, I hope. Everything's sprayed up here. Nice and oiled up. Now I'm going to have to take the time to get my 12 cookies laid out. I'm going to have to be careful since the pan is already pretty hot. Alright, everything's in, closing up. So we'll see how things cook. Alright, I've let things cook for 10 minutes. Just going to open up and feel, see how things are feeling. Yeah, they need more time, so closing up and let them keep going. Alright, I've let things go for 18 minutes. Open up and feel again. Let's see how they feel now. Yeah, they're done. So, of course, with the heat coming down only from the top, things got pretty brown on the top of them, but they are done. So I'm going to set them aside, let them cool. I will say that I expected that that heat coming down from the top would hit them pretty hard, as I said. I tested the heat for the grill because they advertised that the grill can keep such wonderfully even temperature. So I just wanted to see how that would go, and we saw how that went. But if you use NuWave air fryers before, you know that their top-down heating system always cooks things up pretty hot and fast. So I didn't test that, and I really was more interested in testing the grill. So we see how things turned out here, trying to bake some cookies up. So I've given them a little time to cool off, and I'm going to go ahead, thank God for one of these, and do a quick taste of it. You can see the bottom looks very nice on the bottom, although the top got a good cooking. Turned out very good. They taste very good. cooked up. 18 minutes is way faster than other cookers for baking these up. So even though the top's got a bit brown, still cooked up really quick. Alright, so now I'm going to do an air fry test. I've got a frozen salmon fillet here, and I'm going to turn the cooker on. I'm going to do air fry. I'm going to do 375 air fry, and I'm going to leave it at the 15 minutes cook time. Hit start, let it preheat. Got the rack on the middle rack level 2, and going to try that for this. So I'm just going to season this up. I got some extra light olive oil on it. Going to throw a little Old Bay on top. And once the preheat's done, I'm going to throw it on in there. Alright, time to put things in. Set it on this air fry basket. I'm just going to let it cook. I'm not going to turn it over or anything like that. I think just in case, I'm going to set the cooking time out to 20 minutes, just in case it needs more time, but I'll bring you back. Alright, I let it go for the full 20 minutes because after 15 it didn't look like it was done to me. I didn't open it up or anything. It just looked like it wasn't done, so I just let it keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and open up now for the first time since putting it in. I'm going to check temperature here with my thermopin. We're reading 132. We're a little short. So let's go with air fry. I'm going to bump it back up because I like to cook my meat all the way. I know some of you like to carry over. I'm not the carryover guy, and everybody who's used to this channel knows it. So, gonna let it go for another 5 minutes, kill that preheat so it can just run for 5 minutes, and I'll bring you right back. Alright, so it'll be 25 minutes total at 375, and I'm gonna check it again. I'm hoping, Lord willing, it'll be done at my preferred 145 by now. For you wondering why I didn't use the built-in meat probe, that's a long-term cooking type of meat probe. Thermopin is made for quick checks, that's why I'm using it. And I'm not saying that now it's over 145. That's okay for me. I'm not saying that the NuWave built-in probe can't do quick checks. It can. However, if you know about meat probes and you learn about the meat probe game, it's not designed to do quick checks. A thermopin is designed to do quick checks and does it with more accuracy, to be frankly honest. So I'm just going to let this set for a moment, but looks like it's all done. Alright, so just cleaned up a little bit and let the fish just kind of rest for about 5 minutes, but going to go ahead and cut inside of it now, and we'll see inside. So that's how it looks inside. Going to go ahead and cut a piece off for a taste test. Well, it's kind of flaking off, so thank God for this. And do a quick taste. Okay, it's moist inside. And it tastes good. It's got a little bit of crisp on the exterior, but it's real good. I like how it turned out. Did a good job on the air fry. So there you go. Now I'm going to do an air fry test. I've got a couple of old frozen raw beef patties here, and I haven't put anything on them at all. And I'm just going to put them on the grill plate after it heats up and basically see what happens. So I'm hitting grill. I'm going to bump it up to the max of 500, and for the time, I'll leave it at 15. We'll see what happens. And hit start with that. We'll let it preheat, and then I'm going to get them on in there. Alright, time to get them in. Open up. Put one back here. Hearing a little sizzle. Not hearing a ton of sizzle. There's some more, but not a whole lot of sizzle. I'm going to up the time to 20 minutes. And I'm going to let those ride for maybe 10 and then see about flipping them over perhaps. Alright, things have been going for 7 minutes and I'm seeing a lot of action going on in there, so I'm going to try and flip them now. No smoke had come out until I opened the door. Definitely got some grill mark there. Definitely got some grill mark. Yeah, big time grill mark. Look at that. Alright. Cool how the smoke subsides once I close the door. I'm going to let these go for maybe a few minutes. Alright, so it's been 10 minutes, basically total. 7 on one, 3 on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and open up and just do a quick temperature test now, see how things look for temperature. Yeah, we're done. I mean, they're well done. So 10 minutes and we got well done burger patties. So that's pretty good. Let's look at that other side, or the opposite side. See, the opposite side got some grill marks, but the top side got pretty well grilled, and so, you know, it does the grill marks. Does pretty good grill action. I'm gonna, let me see, turn it on off there just to stop it. And we'll just cut into one of these just so you can see inside. So that's how it looks inside after it's been cooked up. So we know that it's able to do some grilling. Now I want to basically talk to you about cleaning the cooker so that you know how to clean it. And this is pretty interesting. The first thing that they mention as far as cleaning the cooker is that you should unplug it when you clean it. Now if you unplug it, you lose your clock. Now, how you get around that, that's up to you. I'll just leave it at that. They say that the accessories are top rack dishwasher safe, but never put the temperature probe in a dishwasher. And they say that the dishwasher, even though things are top rack dishwasher safe for everything except the temperature probe, the dishwasher may cause things to wear faster. So they recommend hand washing everything. And you can soak accessories if needed. Don't use anything that's going to scratch any of the surfaces. So basically use like a wet soapy rag and, you know, wipe things off and all, and then use a wet one to wipe things down afterwards. And you probably should be okay with that. Now let's talk about the warranty. I want to read a portion of a sentence from the warranty that talks about what you'll be responsible for. And it says that you'll have to basically, quote, prepay the freight to and from service department for any part or system returned under this warranty. That's basically saying that you're going to have to flip the bill to and from. And I guess you'd have to negotiate with them to see if they want to let you off the hook with that. But that's what they're saying in their documented warranty. And so that's what that is. And you'll have to decide how you want to address that, or, you know, what you want to do if you want to get this cooker. But basically nothing in this video is sponsored, and in the video description there are lots of ways to help the channel, such as my cookbook, merch, membership, donations, Amazon shop with referral link for different cookers. But even if you use that as your jump off point for other shopping, it still can help the channel. So with all of that said, if you did like the video, please do give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification icon, and good eating.